One of the quiet lessons I took from the Scottish Rite is the value of learning without needing to defend, of listening without immediately sorting ideas into right or wrong, of recognizing that understanding often grows not by narrowing focus, but by widening it. Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you and published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the world. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment on this article, and don't forget to hit the notifications bell. This week's article is Further Light Through Many Lenses by Brother Richard A. Craddockville, 32nd degree, read by Brother Matt Bowers, 32nd degree, and comes from the May-June 2026 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. When I was younger, I remember thinking that with so many religions in the world, they could not possibly all be right. Each seemed to make the same claim in a different way. This is the path, this is the truth, this is how one lives a meaningful life. Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Mormonism, each has its own separate doctrines, traditions, and boundaries. At the time, it thus felt logical to assume that if one was right, the others must be wrong. Such was my way of seeing the world before Freemasonry. In the course of time, my view began to change. Instead of focusing on what separated these belief systems, I found myself paying closer attention to what they shared: compassion, service, accountability, the idea that life has meaning beyond the self, the responsibility to leave the world better than we found it. The languages were different, the symbols varied, the stories changed, but the moral backbone, at least to me, felt strikingly familiar. In many ways, my experience in Freemasonry, and particularly in the Scottish Rite, sparked and helped shape that evolution of viewpoint. From the outside, the Rite can appear to be a series of degrees, titles, ceremonies, and symbols. Yet for those who spend time reflecting on the experience, it becomes clear that something more subtle is taking place. The Scottish Rite does not ask a man to abandon his faith or replace it. It asks only that he believe in a supreme being, and then offers him opportunities to consider light from perspectives he may not have encountered before. As I moved through the Scottish Rite degrees, I was exposed to a wide range of traditions and symbolic frameworks. Biblical narratives appeared alongside ancient Egyptian imagery. Moral lessons were expressed through chivalric ideals, philosophical allegories, and esoteric symbolism. For some, these elements may have appeared differently than they did for me, but what stood out again and again was not contradiction, it was continuity. Each degree, as I experienced it, offered a perspective rather than a replacement, not a correction of belief, but an expansion of viewpoint. These are different lenses, all pointing towards familiar virtues: integrity, justice, self-mastery, and service to others. To my eye, the Scottish Rite was not asking me to choose between them. It was inviting me to notice how often the same truths appear, even when the symbols change. Light, after all, is not owned by any single lens. One of the quiet lessons I took from the Scottish Rite is the value of learning without needing to defend, of listening without immediately sorting ideas into right or wrong, of recognizing that understanding often grows not by narrowing focus, but by widening it. For me, the Scottish Rite does not ask us to abandon convictions or blur beliefs. It asks us rather to refine how we see, to recognize that truth can be approached from more than one direction without losing its substance. We live in a time when difference is treated as division. Political views harden into identities, while religious beliefs turn into boundaries. Too often, disagreement becomes a reason to cease listening altogether. The Scottish Rite quietly reminded me that understanding does not require agreement, and unity does not require uniformity. Seeking further light, at least as I have come to understand it, is not about collecting answers or proving a point. It is about developing the discipline to look past the surface, to recognize shared values beneath different symbols, and to remember that wisdom often reveals itself gradually through patience, humility, and perspective. If Masonry has a lesson that teaches to live outside the walls of the temple, it may be, as Albert Pike states in Morals and Dogma, that it recognizes the great truth that all men are of the same origin, have common interests, and should cooperate together to the same end, that Masons should respect the opinions of each other in matters of faith and beliefs. Lecture of the 14th Degree, Perfect Elu.